Mga kabombo, nakita natin yung mga abogado ni former President Rodrigo Duterte sa unang bahagi. Ito, pakinggan na ho natin ang proceedings.
Madam Courtroom Officer, could you please call the case?
Good morning, Madam President, Your Honors. Situation in the Republic of the Philippines in the case of the prosecutor versus Rodrigo Roa Duterte, case reference ICC 0121-0125, and for the record, we are in open session.
Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much. I am now going to ask the parties and participants to introduce themselves. Starting by Mr. Deputy Prosecutor. Could I please ask you to introduce yourself and to confirm to me whether the list of your team members that I received before the hearing is correct? Thank you, Madam President. Your Honours. The Office of the Prosecutor is represented today by myself. I'm Niai, Deputy Prosecutor. By my side, I have James Miriti, Case Manager. I have Mr. Julian Nichols, Senior Trial Lawyer. And behind us, we have Mr. Edward Jeremy, Trial Lawyer, Madam Robin Croft, Trial Lawyer, Madam Maria Berdenikova, Trial Lawyer, and lastly, Hannah Allen, Associate Trial Lawyer. These are the individuals comprising our team today, and I thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Deputy Prosecutor. Now, before moving on to the defence, I note that Mr. Duterte is not present in the courtroom today. Indeed, on the 20th of February 2026, the Chamber granted Mr. Duterte's request to waive his rights to be present at the confirmation of charges hearing. Pursuant to Article 61(2)(a) of the Rome Statute and Rule 124 of the Rules of Procedure and Evidence. In this decision, number 387, the Chamber concluded that the conditions contained in the provisions were fulfilled, namely that Mr. Duterte has the right and knows he has the right to be present at the confirmation of charges hearing and knows the consequences of waiving this right. However, Mr. Duterte's counsel is present today to represent him. Counsel, could you please introduce yourself and confirm to me that the list of your team members that I received before the hearing is indeed correct?
Good morning, Madam President. Good morning, Your Honours. Indeed, the list before you is correct. May I introduce my team? To my left, I have Dr. Dov Jacobs. To my right, I have Ms. Havnit Sethi. Sitting next to her is Maître Alexandre Dezev-Davy. Behind him, Attorney David Rancati. Sitting next to him, Maître Sandrine de Sena. And our two further lawyers, we have Nicolas Rousseau and also Kaylin Chen. And if Your Honour will permit me, there are also Filipino attorneys who are attending and supporting us today, and I'll briefly mention their names. Maître Salvador Mediadea, who Your Honours are familiar with from the initial appearance, Attorney Martin Delgras, Attorney Silvestre Bello, Attorney Alfredo Lim, Attorney César Doulay, and of course, Attorney Salvador Panello. Thank you very much.
Merci beaucoup, Maître.
Thank you very much, Counsel. I would like to now call upon the legal representatives of victims to introduce themselves and confirm to me that the list of your team members I received before is correct.
Proceedings are represented today by Mr. Joel Butuan, Mr. Gilbert Andres, myself, Paulina Masida, and I confirm the list of our jurists who assist us today as provided to the court officer. Thank you very much.
Merci beaucoup, Maître.
Thank you very much, Maître Masida. Thank you. On my right, I have Judge Rain Adelaide, and I have Judge Adelaide Sophie Alapina Gansu, and to my right I have Maria del Socorro Flores Liera. And I am Julia Antonuela Motok, and I am the presiding judge in pretrial chamber 1 of the court. This hearing concerns the confirmation of charges by the prosecution against Mr. Duterte. At this stage of pretrial proceedings, the OTP alleges that Mr. Duterte is responsible for the crimes that the course officer shall read out shortly. The Chamber shall not take any decision with regard to the guilt or innocence of Mr. Duterte during this hearing. Indeed, the role of the Chamber is to determine whether there is sufficient evidence to establish substantial grounds to believe that Mr. Duterte committed the crimes with which he is charged. If all or part of the charges are confirmed, the Chamber will refer the case to trial, where the trial chamber will decide upon the innocence or guilt of Mr. Duterte. The general principles to be applied at the hearing are as follows. The suspect, in accordance with Article 66 of the Rome Statute, the suspect is considered to be innocent until his guilt has been proven by the court. The burden of proof is upon the OTP, which must produce sufficient evidence to prove the charges against Mr. Duterte at the required standard of proof at Article 61, paragraph 7 of the Rome Statute. Finally, the defense enjoys, or the suspect enjoys, all the rights listed at Article 61, paragraphs 6 and 67 of the Rome Statute. The hearing shall take place according to the schedule contained in the order dated the 26th of January 2026, document number 359. The parties and participants must respect the allocated speaking times indicated in this order. I would like to remind the parties and participants that oral remarks must be concise and that repetition of previously presented arguments should be avoided. In addition, in order to facilitate the work of the interpreters and ensure the proper transcription of discussions, please make sure that your microphone is on every time you address the court. And please speak slowly and mark pauses between each sentence. Generally speaking, the hearing will be held in open session, and parties and participants will refrain from mentioning the names of victims and witnesses. They will only refer to them by their pseudonym or their code. In order to avoid the disclosure of any confidential information, notably with regard to witnesses and victims, the parties and participants will clearly indicate whether their submissions can be presented in public or whether they deem it necessary to move into private session, notably when referring to items of evidence. The parties and participants will clearly indicate when it is no longer necessary to remain in private session. With these rules in place, we can now move to the reading of the charges in its shortened form, indicating the charges against Mr. Duterte. The full version is available publicly on the internet site of the court. The defense has not raised any objections in this regard. I would like to remind the public that the charges that shall be read out in a few seconds comprise allegations raised by the Office of the Prosecutor that the Chamber shall decide, that shall analyze in order to decide whether the evidence presented by the Office of the Prosecutor is sufficient in order for these charges to be confirmed. Madam Courtroom Officer, would you please read the charges?